Hello and welcome to coverage of Club 100's Lightweight Sprint Championship. It's the beginning of May and it's round 4 of the 11-round series and the first of 2 visits to the picturesque and challenging Whilton Mill circuit in the heart of England near Silverstone in Northamptonshire. The 2016 lightweight class has been dominated by Tom Golding, the winner of all 4 scoring finals in the first 2 rounds of the championship at Butmore Park and Rye House. But he was absent at Lyd and he's missing again today. This has left the way open for Pietro Pagano, who was himself absent at Rye House, to win both finals at Lyd, and he's already won the Pre-A final this morning. Yet neither Golding nor Pagano feature in the top 10 of the championship, at least not yet. It's the consistency of Martin Theodoru that gives him a 50-point lead over Sam Dicker and Andrea Fioravanti. The top 20 from this morning's time qualifying advanced to the Pre-A final, which was won by Pagano, ahead of William Whitelock and Theodoru. We're going to pick up the action with the B final for the remaining 26 drivers, who all have hopes of qualifying to the back of the A final by finishing in the top 2 positions. Darry Sims lines up in pole position in kart number 2 with Lee Norris on the front row, John Watkins, James Venning on row 2, Andrea Fioravanti on row 3 with David Darling, Chris Dixon, Simon Sharp, Craig Summers and Andrew Hunt round out the top 10 of a 26 kart field. So it's Darry Sims on the right as we look here in kart number 2 in pole position, which will swap to the left as we look now. And here we go then, over start finish, and I think Lee Norris may have got ahead there at the start line. He's certainly got the lead into turn 1. Now he's got to be careful, that could be a penalty. It's a 2-place deduction for a jump start, but it's James Venning coming through, and down the inside, car 33, John Watkins looking for a way by as well. 2 by 2 through Christmas. But John Watkins has been pushed off the king and nearly driven over by James Martin in kart 62. Down at Ashby. Everybody now begins to fill the 75, looking for a position there. Andrew Hunt. It's a bit messy. People have been off the road, and there's people off the road in the background. Keith Seagal pushing through, trying to make ground quickly. Trying to overtake Joseph Lydiard. 21, Stephen Lester gets his nose in there. And it's get your elbows out for now. James Venning leads Lee Norris. Norris with a question mark hanging over his head as they head back to start finish, and a possible penalty for a jump start. The 2-place penalty will rule him out because only 2 can qualify. James Venning, Lee Norris, Darry Sims and Chris Dixon make up the top 4, trying to pull away from the field as it strings out behind them. On board with Thomas Williams in 17th place. That's Thanasi Barnicourt ahead of him. Oh, 3 wide. Fioravanti down the inside. Can he get it turned? He's run out wide. David Darling. Barnicourt trying to push through as well. Arms up in the air. Somebody off the road down at Ashby. Can't see who it is. Oh, a bit of contact there. Sims on Venning. And that might be a penalty for Darry Sims as Chris Dixon moves through to 2nd place ahead of Lee Norris. Well, of course, it might be possible for Lee Norris to still get through with a 2-place penalty, so long as people ahead of him have more penalties than him. And somebody else has spun out. Kart 49 is Aidan Kitchener. Sims leading out this B final, which has been a fairly robust affair. Ahead of Chris Dixon, Lee Norris, James Venning beginning to fade. Needs to hang on in there. Qualification is not that far away. Darry Sims, Chris Dixon, Lee Norris, and if Sims has indeed picked up a penalty, that will put him in 2nd place behind Dixon in reality. Lee Norris with a 2-place penalty of his own. That would put Venning ahead of him, and indeed would put Andrew Hunt as well in front of him as well. Into the boot section, I can see the tail end of a cart there, parked waiting for assistance. I assume that's still Aidan Kitchener, being protected by the yellow flag, being waved by the ever-efficient marshals. Another lap goes in the books. Darry Sims' lead is 0.7 of a second on the road ahead of Chris Dixon. Battle here between kart number 4, Bobby Dawes, Adam Surcar over 15th place. John Watkins down the inside of Andrea Fioravanti. Watkins moves to 6th place. Oh, it's not going very well here for Andrea. He's well up in the championship. He really needs to get out of this B final and into the A. his bumper, kart 62, is James Martin, running in 8th. Behind him, David Darling, who's dovetailing this championship with racing an easy kart. Tanasi Barnacourt, kart 97, has moved ahead of Keith Segal. Your race leader, Sims, Dixon, Norris, Venning, gap then to Hunt, Watkins, Fioravanti. Whoa, almost down the inside there from David Darling with a speculative move on James Martin into turn 1. You've really got to be alongside before even trying that. And Stephen Lester moves onto his bumper in the red there, kart 21 through Inkermans. Trying to be neat and tidy into Ashby. Martin caught the inside curb there. Hasn't slowed him down any. Oh, a little bit crossed up from David into Parker. Not quite the grip of the Vega tyres, perhaps, that he's used to on his easy kart. Into the boot, around the toe, keeping it tidy, trying to keep the momentum up as much as possible. And Venning is falling away from Lee Norris. Watkins can't break Andrew Hunt, John Watkins and Andre Fioravanti. Watkins takes a look over his shoulder. Well, he's pulled out a couple of kart lengths through turn 1. Hunt trying to hang on there. Distinctive helmet colour. Yellow flag still out at Ashby. There's a kart there waiting to be moved. Being recovered by the ever-efficient Club 100 crew. Into the boot section. Sims, Dixon, Norris. Venning is indeed falling away. Watkins pulling clear of Andrew Hunt. Fioravanti ahead of James Martin. Tanasi Barnacourt down the inside of Stephen Lester. I've got a vague recollection of Tanasi Barnacourt winning here or finishing second in an A final in lightweights. Quite what he's doing starting at the back of the field, I can only imagine. Running uphill, down behind the Nassau. Does it really make a difference? Presumably it does. Looking for a way by Darling. And out once again. Ashby is a prime overtaking spot that's been stolen from this final by a mechanical issue that's left a kart stricken off the corner. Down the inside. Barnacourt goes in deep and hard, and Stephen Lester gets his position back and does the pair of them indeed. Lee Norris inside of Chris Dixon moves to second, but back 2 puts him 4th. Sims back 1 puts Dixon back in the lead, if my maths and the rules are right in my mind. And Tanasi Barnacourt, I think, has indeed picked up a penalty for his pass on David Darling. I think he's just been informed of that by Robo Mick, hanging over start finish. He's coming back at Stephen Lester, who can't hold him off. And Barnacourt goes back through. But he won't be able to drive his way into the back of the A final from there now with that penalty. And Fioravanti's pulled off at the side of the road. He is pulled out with some kind of mechanical as well at Ashby. Disappointing day for Andrea. So Sims under pressure, just a little bit from Lee Norris. Dixon keeping a watching brief in 3rd. I'm fairly certain that he's qualified. James Venning, 4th on the road, now coming under pressure from John Watkins. Of course, with Norris's penalty, Venning is running in 3rd. Norris remains in 4th. Watkins is 5th. Group coming through as the field spreads. This is the battle for 17th place. Elia Ivagora coming through under pressure from car number 70, Simon Sharp. And there's a cone spinning away there. I think Darry Sims has just taken out the cone at Parker. And now if he has, that will be another penalty. That will make 2 for him, 2 for Norris. So Dixon, running in 3rd, will be leading. Where would that put James Venning and John Watkins? This might need a slide rule to work out. And too many fingers from the likes of I. So the battle goes on. Watkins looking for a way past James Venning for 4th on the road. Andrew Hunt comfortable in 6th, ahead of Thanasi Barnacourt, which won't be comfortable for long because Barnacourt's got speed to burn here and will run him down, I think, before the finish. So we're still being robbed of Ashby as an overtaking spot. This time it's with Fioravanti waiting for assistance. Dixon trying to close on Norris. Sims going narrow into the boot section. Behind, Keith Seagal trying to hang on to a few positions towards the finish. And Barnacourt has caught up with Andrew Hunt, looking for a way by. Closing stages now, lap 11 of 14. Derry Sims' lead is 0.3 of a second. Andrew Hunt under pressure from Thanasi Barnacourt in their fight for 7th place, 6th place now, with the demise of Fioravanti, James Martin, Stephen Lester, David Darling. It's a 5-way fight really for the bottom of the top 10. Swinging through Inkermans, down to Ashby. Is there a yellow flag still out there? No, it's back in. So racing's back on at Ashby as Fioravanti trudges off to his disappointment. Barnacourt moves through and up to 6th place. Leicester, David Darling looking for a way by. Back up front, Sims, Norris, Dixon, as it's been for most of this final. Under the banner into turn 1. A little bit of a lift maybe there. John Watkins is pulling clear of James Venning. And I think that's about as far as Barnacourt will get before the finish. Stephen Lester continuing to look to find a way past Andrew Hunt. Darling and James Martin beginning to get dropped from this group. Lester to the inside, can he get it done? It's late, there's contact. And Darling's back in the mix, and that will bring back in James Martin. Through the kink, chance maybe for Martin. Almost certainly a chance for Darling. Now the yellow flag is back out again. Lester to the inside of David Darling. Will he get the move done? Yes, he will. Down into Chapman's, but runs in wide and deep. And we're coming through to start the penultimate lap. Derry Sims lead. Well, you're looking at 0.2 of a second. That's it on the road. Chris Dixon keeping a watching brief. I'm absolutely certain he is leading this race and will be promoted to the top spot when they get to the finish. No need to do much here, Chris. Just follow them all. You're through to the A final. Down at Ashby. The yellow flag's back in and racing's back on there. Across to Parker. Fast left-hander. Sort of falls away towards the cut-through. Deceptively fast corner. Down at Chapman's. Sucks you in, can cause you to go too deep. Clatter that curb on the exit. And into the boot section. John Watkins clear of Venning. Barnacourt closing in. But we're round to start the final lap now. The final tour of this B final. Sims is going to lead this one out. Looks over his shoulder. Can have the quiet satisfaction of winning. Whether or not it stands at the finish, we'll have to look at the final results sheet. Dixon on the bumper of Lee Norris through Inkermans down to Ashby. Sims caught the inside curb there, hasn't slowed him down any. I think he's got this one in the bag as it stands. Blue flag being waved. Who's that for? Lydiard has got in the way of Derry Sims. Well, to be fair, Joseph couldn't have got any wider and out of the way if he tried, and Norris is promoted to the lead ahead of Chris Dixon. And we're going to have to recalculate those sums now. A 2-place deduction for jumping the start for Lee Norris demotes him to 3rd and puts Chris Dixon back in the lead. And then 2 1-place deductions for Sims moves him out of the top 2 and puts Lee Norris back in the A final. John Watkins is 3rd, Sims demoted to 4th, James Venning, David Darling, James Martin, Thanasi Barnacourt with a penalty of his own in 8th, Stephen Lester and Andrew Hunt finishes and rounds out the top 10. So on to the A final. In pole position, Pietro Pagano going for his 4th win of the season. William Whitelock second in the pre-A final, on the front row with him. Championship leader Martin Theodoru on row 2 with Oliver Rowlands. Christopher Powell, a podium finisher at late, on row 3 with Chris Penny, who finished 3rd in the pre-A final at Buckmore Park. Dominic Green and Alex Lammin start on row 4. John Gooch and Jacob Hine-Ford round out the top 10. And Jacob, Andrew Ward, Andrew Mather and Paulman Pagano all provide onboard footage, although how much of Pietro's footage we will use is probably dependent on someone getting ahead of Pietro off the start. And peculiarly, Pagano is on grid 2 for the start. Whitelock looking at his feet, green light and we're racing. Whitelock missed the start as well. Pagano leads into turn 1. Now, was that a master stroke from Pietro to take the racing line from grid 2? Or did he just not realise he was on the wrong side? Up to Christmas corner, Dominic Green goes down the inside, moving into what looks like the top 6 on Chris Penny. On board with Andrew Ward through the Inkermans, which is just a kink here. Looking at the back of Darrell Lowe in the blue on the left. Dominic Green, a little bit of contact there, but he's down the inside of Oliver Rowlands into Chapman's. It's another position gained. Quite a stack behind Andrew Mather. Oh, it's all messy. And Andrew Green is out off of Chapman's after a bounce over the curb and the cone. That cone is killed. End of lap 1, and Pietro Pagano's got a half-second lead on William Whitelock. Martin Theodoru, the championship leader, in 3rd. Chris Powell has moved up to 4th place. He's ahead of Dominic Green, who's coming forward, having just passed Oliver Rowlands. We're looking at the fight behind Alexander Lammin. That's 7th place for Lammin. Penny, Jacob Hine-Ford gets a shot from behind from James Williams. That wasn't very nice. Back on board with Andrew Ward. He's trying to run down Frankie Hedges in the blue, who's going down the inside. Can he get it done? I believe that's Matthew Gouter Thornton he's just passed. Ward runs wide, misses the apex of Parker. Behind him, 69 John Gooch. Green trying to squeeze Chris Powell to the grass, can't do it though, and Powell has gone through. So Powell stays in 4th place. James Williams, there's a little bit of contact there with Chris Penny. Well, Penny's not happy, so I'm guessing there was. And that was probably a warning board for James over start finish. 66, Sam Dickett, well up in the championship, down the inside of Jacob Hine-Ford. There's contact with Williams. Nothing malicious there, he went for the position, and Williams just appeared at the apex. All made it through fairly safely and tidily through Ashby. Jacob Hine-Ford through Parker, trying to make ground. 69 is John Gooch, who's not had a good start, but he's steadied the ship. On to lap number 4, and Pietro Pagano's lead is 0.6 of a second on William Whitelock, and this pair are pulling clear now of the rest of the field, which is now headed by Dominic Green. Powell down to 4th place, Theodoru 5th. So the championship leaders sliding through the field as Dominic Green comes to the fore. Chris Penny to the inside of James Williams, trying to get a position back, goes in too deep, too hot, and loses the spot immediately on the exit. Whoa, a bounce over the curb, and Jacob Hine-Ford is down the inside of Sam Dicker. And Darrell Lowe's gone through as well. Busy start down the inside of Kart 99 was 26, which was Frankie Hedges trying to find his way past Sam Reeves. We're back on board with Andrew Ward. There's a yellow flag out for the boot section, and that's Andrew Green once again parked at the side of the road, so this A final's been a disaster for him. And there's a penalty board out there, Kart 87, that was James Williams. Well, there was a couple of incidents that might be his, or it might be something else. A robust start down the inside of Oliver Rowlands. Well, not quite there for Alexander Lammin. Pietro Pagano, Whitelock through Ashby. Look at the gap back to 3rd place and Dominic Green. I think that's as far as Green's going to get. Lammin trying to run down Oliver Rowlands. to pick up 6th place if he can. Pagano, Whitelock, and Whitelock is beginning to lose touch. Green, Theodoru, Powell, Rowlands, Lamin, Williams with his penalty. Penny back on board with Jacob Hine-Ford. Looking for a way by as he sees the top 8 pulling clear. Looks over his shoulder, sees Darrell Lowe. Darrell raced in heavies last season. Is dovetailing this with a run in the elite class as well. I'm guessing this is a one-off just for the practice. Darrell Lowe now moving onto the bumper of Jacob Hine-Ford. Back on board with Andrew Mather. I think that's Adrian Mertens ahead of us. On the brakes, Mertens runs wide. Mather not in position to take advantage, and he loses a spot as well. I think that's Ben Atkinson, or maybe it's Chris Dixon. I think that's the B final winner that's just moved through. So the battle for 3rd place. Dominic Green, Martin Theodoru, Christopher Powell. Chris Penny brings through the battle for 9th place, on board with Jacob Hine-Ford once again. That sounded flat out to me. Through turn 1. It's a warm day, there'll be plenty of grip there. So on the brakes at Ashby, Green, Theodoru, Powell. Green takes a look over his shoulder. Takes another look over his shoulder. Theodoru. Oh, and Powell's made a mistake there. All crossed up. You heard the scooch of tyres. It was all speed being bled off, and look, he's lost 3-4 kart lengths as a consequence. A loss of concentration. And Green's got his head on the swivel, trying to hold off Theodoru. He might lose concentration himself. Oliver Rowlands clear of James Williams, Lamin, Penny, Hine-Ford. Behind them, Frankie Hedges. Under pressure, I think they're from Sam Reeves. Oh, somebody off the road, side of the road there. Not sure what route that is. John Gooch, I think. Interesting line into Christmas. And here comes Martin Theodoru down the inside for 3rd place. I think that's been coming for a couple of laps. And that invites back in Chris Powell, and Green was looking over the wrong shoulder. And Powell goes through to 4th place. Bit of a love tap from Green, but Powell keeps the spot. And we're through to start lap 9. Bounce across the curb. Losing a little bit of momentum as well. Back on board. Down the field here. With Andrew Mather looking at the back of, I think that's John Gooch. Powell now has got his head on the swivel. Target acquired for Dominic Green. And Powell looking to push straight on to Theodoru, trying to get back on the podium. He's already finished on the podium this season. Hine-Ford still trying to find a way past Chris Penny as we start to move into the closing stages. We're coming through to start lap 10 of 14. I can tell you Pietro Pagano's lead is 1.5 seconds ahead of William Whitelock, and they're 4.5 seconds clear of Martin Theodoru in the fight for 3rd place. And Chris Powell is suddenly back down in the pack. I'm not sure what's happened there. Oh, and Hine-Ford's off the road. No room on the exit. Powell down the inside of Oliver Rowlands. 3 wide, Darrell Lowe on Hine-Ford. I'm not sure who's gone through there with him. Sam Dicker, I think. Oliver Rowlands holding off Chris Penny. It's all got a bit fractious. A lot of leading going on here. Sam Reeves and Frankie Hedges. And it's all plain sailing for Pietro Pagano. He's broken William Whitelock now, who's settled for 2nd. It'll be 4 wins out of 4 for Pietro Pagano, and he'll go level with Tom Golding at the top of the championship if you apply drop scores with 4 wins apiece. I saw Darren Lowe looking at the scoreboard there, waving his hand. I think he's picked up a penalty for his dive bomb, and he's just had a little bit given back to him there. Christmas corner. So Theodorou and Green side by side across to Parker in the fight for 3rd place, and perhaps Chris Powell's not out of this one yet. But they're a long, long way down on Pietro Pagano and William Whitelock. Green closing in on Theodorou through the boot section. Williams ahead of Alexander Lamin. So Williams up to 6th, possibly running with a penalty. Well, of course he is. We saw the scoreboard. Sam Dicker now down in 12th place. Back on board with Andrew Ward, closing in on Sam Reeves. Looks to the inside. He's got a good draft and a good run through turn 1, and he pulls the move. Oh, bit of contact. And around the outside goes James Monroe. 1 step forward, 1 step back for Ward. So we're down into the closing stages. There's only one fight really for the podium, and that's over 3rd place. All crossed up. Mather trying to pick up a spot. Can he get it done? Oh, Penny leaning in there on James Williams. Don't think he got it done. So on to the penultimate lap then, this battle for 3rd place. Whoa, and Dominic Green sticks his nose in, and I don't think that was on, and it's side by side, 3 wide, and somehow Theodorou and Powell are off the road. Possibly Theodorou and Powell trying to squeeze Green there. The first one was his, but the second we'll have to put down as a racing incident, I think. So closing stages, 2 of the front runners are out. Oh, Hein Ford pushing into Oliver Rowlands, gets his apology in. Rowlands keeps the spot. So Pietro Pagano coming round to start his final lap. It's been a comfortable day for him. 2 wins this will be. He's 2.4 seconds clear of Whitelock, who's got 7.7 seconds lead on Dominic Green in 3rd place, possibly under a cloud. Certainly Chris Powell and Martin Theodorou won't be happy. Alexander Lamin is hanging on to what is now 5th place ahead of Chris Penny. James Williams is running in 4th place on the road, but I'm pretty sure he has a penalty as well. So Lamin could end up possibly even on the podium. Hein Ford looks to the inside of Rowlands. Long way back and it's late. He tried this the lap before, it didn't work. It hasn't worked again. Pietro Pagano is into the boot section for the last time. It's been a great day's racing for Pietro. It's starting to rain, but he's going to get this one in under the wire. Pietro Pagano, with his 4th straight win of the season, goes level on points with Tom Golding at the top of the championship if you drop scores. William Whitelock makes it 2 second places at Whilton Mill, and we have to look a long way back to Dominic Green in 3rd place ahead of Alexander Lamin, Chris Penny, Jacob Hein Ford, Oliver Rowlands, James Williams, Frankie Hedges and Sam Dicker round out the top 10 once all the penalties are applied. Pietro Pagano, where has this pace come from? Have you been practicing?
Not really, no. Not today anyway. Just qualifying better makes it a bit easier racing from the front, so kept my nose clean in the first race, let everybody sort of take each other out, ended up in the lead, and yeah, starting from pole in the second race makes it a bit easier. So.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm a bit stuck for what to talk to you about, because it looked easy. It can't have been.
No, it was definitely on the edge on that final. Yeah, it was only the last lap where I started to take it a bit easier. I didn't want to make a stupid mistake, that would be embarrassing. So yeah, it wasn't easy. It was just nice. So, yeah, good win.
So it's a double-double.
Yeah, trying to catch up to Tom, because I think he had the first 4 rounds and he's been away for the last 2. So we'll see what next round brings when he's back.
Well done, Pietro. We'll look forward to seeing you at Glenigo.
Yeah, I'll be there. See you soon. Cheers.
But to our winner, he won it at lead. He's won again here at Whilton Mill. Driver 22, Pietro Pagano. guys. Excellent.